Welcome my boys and girls, I hope you're all doing good, having a great day. It has been about almost 1 year that I have done a tier list for the 1-star legendary gems. Some of you guys keep asking me to do one, and now that we have about 27 1-star legendary gems, I thought why not do an updated tier list for the 1-star and see which one are still worth using in 2025 as of me recording this in October. So just a disclaimer, this will be my personal opinion, not a factual stated fact, but let's go start with 1-star gems. I'll be going with the Zod Stone. We'll be taking a look at some of the description myself because you know what, I don't remember the description of every single gem, but the first one is basically going to be the Zod Stone. Increase the duration of your ultimate skill by 16% and increase the damage done of your ultimate. I don't think this is going to be that great for any use, and so I'll be just putting it straight in the D tier and moving on to the next gem. That is gonna be the whatever the name of this gem, I just don't want to butcher it right now. Increase the speed of your primary attack, and primary attack damage bonus is increased. This is still somewhat a decent gem for classes which utilize a lot of primary in the PvE. At least PvP it isn't gonna be that great, but I would say still a decent gem, and I'll just drop it in a B tier. And moving on to the next gem, that is gonna be Defiant Soul. Each time you block an attack, you deal 64% base damage plus 777 to nearby enemies, and then decrease all damage you take by 1.5% for 3 seconds. This gem isn't that great at all. You need to take damage in order to block and reflect some of it back. So this gem isn't gonna be that great, at least in my opinion, and so I will be putting it in C. I think it goes in C. D is gonna be a bit too much for the gem, but I'll be putting it in the C, at least in my opinion. And then moving forward, Respite Stone, you take 0.55 decreased damage for every 10% of your missing life. Gain increased block chance while your life is below 50%. This gem is, you guys know what, going straight into D, in my opinion, is just not that great. And moving forward, let's see the gem we have here. Pain of Subjugation. I think this gem is still gonna be pretty good if you can apply total loss of control to the enemy. You deal more damage to enemies suffering from loss of control. This need to be loss of control, total loss of control. I am forgetting. Decrease all damage you take by 1% by suffering loss of control. A decent gem. I would say this is still gonna be a decent gem, and I'll put it in B with this other gem, forgetting the name. My apologies for that. And moving forward, let's see, we have Tickshot Gem. This gem is still going to be decent for any class looking to channel their skill for longer. There isn't any other gem in the game that can somewhat give you an ability to channel your skills for longer and decrease all damage you take by 0.5% while channeling. So I think it is a unique gem, and because of that, I will be putting the gem in a tier. If we get in future something for the channeling in 2-star and 5-star category, then this will fall down to C or maybe even D. But for until then, this is going in a tier in my opinion. And then moving forward, Berserker Eye gives you quite a lot of damage, still going to be one of the strongest damage dealing gems from 1-star category, and so I will be putting the gem in S tier. Moving forward, we have let's see what we have here. We have the Sludge Weakening. This gem is actually pretty decent. You can keep up the bonus after killing the elite, and it gives you quite a lot of damage. So for PvE, this gem is going to be pretty decent. You can use it for PvE, any content, but for PvP, this isn't going to be that great. And because of that, it isn't that versatile. I'll be putting it in the B tier. Moving forward, we have Mocking Laughter. Again, this gem is not that great. The only thing that is happening for just the gem is going to be Taunt. Your primary attack can taunt non-bosses, means normal monsters and players, and Taunt is basically a total loss of control effect. And just because of that, I'll be putting this gem in like C tier. I don't think Taunt is all that great. This gem is just basically not doing that great. I would actually put the gem in the D tier, but because if maybe you have some use of the Taunt, and because of that, I will be going in the C. But other than that, I don't think the gem is worth using. Moving forward, we have the Everlasting. Again, a great gem. Your critical is going to inflict agony. That is basically dealing bleeding damage to the enemy and increase your attack speed by a few percentage. Enemies who will be inflicted by the agony. So I think this is still going to be pretty decent gem. And if you somewhat running a necromancer with lots of dodge, this gem can be 8 tier, at least in my opinion. As long as we have damage over time gems in the game, I think they have a place in a higher category here, unless we get all 5-star gems, like 8 of the 5-star gems with a dot, then the value for these gems will be dropped. But I'll be putting the Everlasting in the A here, just because it has value for dot build. And moving forward, we have changed that, increase the damage 0.5% per target up to maximum. So you need few monsters around to get this maximum buff, and change that bonus damage increase up to maximum 4. So basically pretty decent if you have a lot of monsters around, but in a single target it's just not gonna be that great. And because of that, I will be putting the gem in the C tier right there. In a single target, it's just not gonna be that great. And moving forward, Nightmare Rat. You have 10% chance when you defeat an enemy to cause other nearby enemies to flee in fear. Again, some total loss of control effect, and misfeared by Nightmare Rat take 2% increased damage. But still, I don't think this gem is that great, and so I will be putting it in the C tier right there. Not much use for it, since you won't be getting anything other than some fear out of that gem. And then it is the Black Rose, one of the most unique gems right now in game, used for PvP, and it can immobilize attackers basically, and they cannot move from their spot in PvP. And because of that, I think this gem is going to be super unique, very unique gem. And most of you who don't do PvP and only play PvE, you will disagree with me, but the one who've been doing PvP and using it, I will be putting the Black Rose in S tier. You can disagree with me, but this gem has a very unique immobilize effect on it, and it is really somewhat annoying in PvP, can be pretty strong as well. So I will be putting the gem in the S tier. Now moving forward, let's see what we have here. And that is going to be Freedom and Devotion. Increase the duration of your summon by 8%. Increase the damage of your summons. So if you're running Necromancer with a lot of summon, we never know when the summons get a buff for a Necromancer, and then you might be needing this gem. And because of that, I will be putting the gem in B here. If you're running very heavy summon based build, maybe then it is going to be good for you. But for most of other classes, most of like every other class, the gem is basically going to be D tier. And only for a Necromancer, if you heavily focus on the summons, then it is at best can be B, at least in my opinion. Other than that, doesn't have much use. And then Blessed Pebble, increase the duration of the beneficial effect on you by 4%, increase the movement speed by 2%. A pretty decent gem for people who are somewhat struggling to get the beneficial duration, especially when they are starting the game. After that, you can get, like, once you start building up your character, you can get quite a lot of beneficial duration on your gear, magic effects, runes, and stuff like that, and you don't need this gem. But for everyone who is starting or just trying to min max everything, I think for them the gem is going to be it. It is a pretty solid gem, I would say, and recommended to new players after they can replace it to something else once they are done building up their beneficial duration on all the gear pieces, reforge, and the runes. The next gem that we have here is going to be Heartstone. The duration of your absorb shield are increased by 16%. Your absorb shield also reduce the duration of loss of control. It's just not that great. It might sound good here on the sheet, but when we go in PvP, the stripe makes this gem pretty much useless. So I'll be putting the gem in a DT tier. I don't think it's all that great because of strife. Basically, the gem isn't that strong. Moving forward, it is going to be the law. Force gaze, increase the damage done by your charge skill by 8%, and charge skill increase by 8%. Speed increase by 8%. Not gonna be that great, guys. I don't think anyone would like to use the charge skill in the game. No one likes that. It goes in the D tier from me. And moving forward, let's see what we have here. Don't want to butcher the name. We'll just say Echo. Your block chances increase by 10% for 6 seconds when you receive a critical hit. So you need to get critically hit before it will give you some block chance. And then during the effect, damage received when blocking is reduced. So you need to take damage for this gem to do anything for you. And because of that, I'll be just putting it in the D tier right there. And moving forward, the next gem that we have here, Eye of Unyielding, continual damage is done increased by 6%, goes all the way up to, I think, 18%, if I'm not wrong. A continual damage taken reduce, a very powerful gem. If you can apply this condition to the enemies and players, the gem is actually pretty solid, can give you nice damage boost. And so I'll be putting a gem in the B tier. You know what? I'll be putting a gem in the A tier. If you can apply this effect to the enemy, continual damage, then you will be getting damage increase. And so I will be putting it in the A tier. Moving forward, it is Unrefined Passage. Damage you take while moving is reduced by 5%. So just keep on moving. You have 1% chance to be immune to an attempt to slow you. Wow, okay. That is just not that great, guys. that isn't gonna help you. So I'll be putting a gem in the D right there. It's just not gonna help you after all the strife in the PvP. And next we have the Misery Elixir, one of the best gems that we have in the game. And in PvE, if you're trying to min-max your dot build or harmful effect, even in PvP, one of the best gems that we have, unless we get a 5-star gem with a harmful effect or duration that you can increase, this gem is going to be pretty powerful. And so I will be putting the Misery Elixir in the ST, at least in my opinion. The gem is freaking fantastic. I love the harmful effect, and so I'm biased about that, and so I will be putting a gem in the S tier. I love harmful effects, CC, and all that stuff. Love that. So the gem goes in the S, at least in my opinion. And then moving forward, Lucent Watcher. Reduce the duration of the loss of control effect on you by 8%. While suffering from loss of control, the damage you take is reduced by 1%. That damage reduction is so high that I'm not sure how much you will able to take benefit from it. And I'll be just putting the gem in the B tier. I think C is where I will be putting the gem, honestly, not better than that. And moving forward, we have a Entropic Well, a really good gem, gives you a lot of skill damage boost and skill attack speed increase by 1%. And I think you guys can already guess where I will be putting it. It goes in S tier, at least for me. And moving forward, we have the Havoc Bearer. Using a dash skill, increase your damage by 6% for 2 seconds and increase your attack speed by 1%. Now, I have a mixed feeling about this. In a PvE, you won't be using all that many dashes most of the time, and you might be running something that might not use this. And in PvP, again, you might not be using the dashes like every 2 seconds. You're like, this is only lasting 2 seconds. And so I think it's a decent gem. I'll be putting it in the B tier, not better than that. I don't think I can give it better ranking than that. And moving forward, you only left with few gems here. Faltergrasp, critical hit, disable enemy, preventing their use of dash skills for 1.2 seconds. It goes up and cannot occur on the same target more often than once every 20 seconds. Disable enemies also have their movement speed reduced, and this is very unique gem, just like the Black Rose. And I'll be putting the gem in the S tier for PvP purposes. This gem has no benefit in PvE, but in PvP it can be pretty good even against Veils, especially if you have built up your potency and stuff like that. It can be pretty decent gem. I don't think the potency and the harmful actually increase the duration of the gem, if I'm not mistaken, but still a pretty good quad control gem for PvP, even for higher reso plays. And now we are left with a few more gems. It is going to be the Surging Sea. Using a skill, increase your skill damage by it was 0.8% for 3 seconds, stacking up 10 times, and skill cooldown reduced by 0.5%. If you can spam a lot of skills very fast, this gem will be giving you a ton of damage, and it goes in the S tier in my opinion. Now we are left with one last gem, and that is going to be the latest one, Mountain Toe. This gem had a really unique effect on it, but the value was extremely low. Critical resistance increased by 4%. At maximum it is, I believe, 12%, and in PvP it gives you basically 4% critical resistance. That is basically nothing, and because of that, I'll be putting the gem in at best. I honestly think this gem has no use, and it goes in the D tier. So there we go. My updated tier list for the 1-star gems. Let me know in the comment section down below. How would you guys rate some of these differently? This video got a bit longer, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Now I'm signing off. You guys take care, and I see you all in the next one. Later.